Hey everybody, I'm Deborah Richmond. Recently I took a quilt class online and I wanted to talk to you about it and tell you about it. It was from Craftsy.com. Now I've taken video classes from Craftsy before and I absolutely love them. This one I loved, was no exception. So let me just tell you a little bit about the Craftsy classes if you haven't taken one before. First of all, you purchase the class and then you log into Craftsy.com and your classes will be there ready for you to watch. Now this particular class that I took had 6 different lessons. Each lesson was 15 to 20 minutes long, and many of the classes that I've taken so far, that's really how they work, is you'll have several different videos showing you different steps of a technique or how to make a particular quilt. Now the class that I took was called Simple to Stunning, Disappearing Blocks with PreCuts, and the instructor's name was Angela Pingel. I love this class. The reason why I wanted to take it is because if you haven't heard of disappearing blocks, the theory behind them is you start with a simple block, you cut it, sew it back together, and you end up with a much more sophisticated block. That I'm very interested. I'm very interested in things that are simple, that look more complex, something I can get done quickly. And also I wanted to know more about this so that I could use it maybe in my future projects when I'm designing new things. And so let me show you some of the things that we worked on in the class. All right, so let's start with the simple level. Now look at this block. This is the first block that I created, and it looks pretty complex, right? It has lots of different pieces to it, but this was very simple. Now let me show you how it really works. You start with a 9 patch that you're going to sew together, these 9 patches, and I used 2 colors so we have a nice easy contrast. And this is the way you start. Then you take your rotary cutter and you slice the block this way and you slice the block this way. So you can see I've done that. I have different pieces, and so now all you do, we're going to turn 1 block, we're going to turn 2 blocks. And so now you see it is a much more complex block, and that is all we did. Now this I can see, I really like this because it is super easy, super fast. So if you're a beginner, you're going to love this and you're going to get a nice, like I said, complex quilt looking out of it. What I also like about this disappearing blocks technique is that they lend themselves very well to having a secondary pattern. So I've only made 1 block of this. However, if I can see that as I put more blocks together, we're going to have different patterns that are going to be forming from this 1 block. So you get double interest going on with the quilt. I really like that. So now let me show you the next block. Okay, so here is the next level of the disappearing blocks. Now this is more of an intermediate level. Still very easy, and I'll show you. Isn't this a nice block? It's a very traditional looking block, and I'll show you how easy it is to do. You're going to start with a layer cake or a 10-inch square. That's what a layer cake is. And you're going to use a light block on one side and a dark block on the other so we can get that nice contrast. Lay the 2 together, right sides together. I'm going to now take a rotary cutter and cut this way, and I'm going to cut this way. So I make cut number 1, I don't move anything, and I slice cut number 2. What I end up with then is 4 pieces that look like this when I open them up. So half square triangles. And so now the next step that we do is we take those 4 half square triangles and we sew them together in a pinwheel. So this is a disappearing pinwheel. Okay, so you can still see the pinwheel here. Now we're going to cut this in 3 different rows this way and 3 different rows this way. So I'll start here. It's a 12-inch block, so I went for every 4 inches, sliced with a rotary cutter here, turned, and I kept the block exactly where it is on my mat, cut here, and a cut here. Now we have all these separate pieces, and I'm going to put them together now to show you the new design. So do you see it starting to take shape here? Now we're going to add back those pieces. to finish out the block. And so there you have all those pieces back together, creates our design. So you can see that something that looks really complex, when you follow this formula and method, it becomes very easy. Now we sew them back together and we've got our block. Now let me show you the third level that I tried. Okay, now I'm going to show you the third technique that I tried with the disappearing blocks, and this one involves jelly rolls. So I had some leftover jelly rolls that I wanted to play with, and they were one of these gradations of black to gray. And I sewed them together dark to light and used 4 different pieces and sewed a strip together. The next step that I did was then take that strip and cut it into squares. So you can see this was the strip. I then cut it into squares. I would take 2 squares, and you see how the lines are running this way for the bottom piece. I'm going to now turn this one so that they're running perpendicular, and I'm going to place the 2 squares together. And then when I have them all nicely placed together, I am going to slice from corner to corner like we did last time. What you end up with is, again, half square triangles is what we had last time, and here's what they look like. So let me show you now what you're going to do with these blocks in order to create a pattern. You can put them together lots of different ways. This is how I chose to put them together. You see, this is a challenge for me. This is how I chose to put them together for the quilt behind me. This one block creates all of the blocks behind me, and I'll show you. Here's the block, and here the block is here. Repeat it again, right next to it. You really have a hard time picking out that block, and that's what I love. You get that secondary pattern that's going from one particular block over and over again. Now there are a lot of different ways you can put this together for patterns, and this is the one that I chose, and this is the one I'm really, really happy with. I think that the disappearing blocks work really well with solid colors or very high contrast colors, and I absolutely loved how the gradations of gray to black made this look very, very complex, and it really was not, as you saw. So I really like these Craftsy classes, and this particular one, I'll tell you why I really liked it, and I think it's a great value. I really got my money's worth out of it because, number one, you have blocks that start from the beginner level and then move up 3 or 4 different levels as far as complexity, so that you can choose which one you want to work on. Now, I may use the level 1 if I want to do a really fast quilt for a gift, or I may go up to something, if I want to do more design myself, go up to something at this level. There's also, because she's gone through, the instructor's done a very good job of going through all these steps, the next step she shows you is that now you can take this and you can use this on any of your own blocks. And that creates a whole new way to design blocks that are very unique just to you. You can also change, where the colors are in the different pieces before you start cutting. So where is the contrast? Where are the lights and where are the darks? How many different values do you use? That changes completely how the blocks come out. Again, I have a couple tips that I would say if you're going to try a Craftsy class. Number one, go ahead and watch the videos before you start to do anything. I found that really helpful, and I found it really interesting. The other thing I really like about Craftsy classes is because they are kept online for you, ready for you anytime you are, I can access them from my computer, my laptop, I can access from my iPad, or my iPhone. For me, that became very important because I actually use all of those different things. And I was able to use my iPad and watch the first video. I was actually in an airport. I was traveling. So this gave me I could get in there and start looking at those rather than sit at the airport and do nothing. And then again, if you have only an iPhone, you can use these videos with an iPhone. So just depending on which devices you have, this works across all of them. Now the other suggestion that I would give you is that if you're signing up for a Craftsy class, I like to wait till I know I have time to work on the project on the class. So if I see something I like and I know I'm not going to have time for this month is crazy and I won't have time for it, I will wait and I will purchase it next month. Now you don't have to. That's just what I like to do. You can purchase them and keep them, but what I find is to really get my money's worth, really get the value out of a video, is I buy it when I'm ready to start working on it, So I may buy it today, this weekend I've got some time, and I'll get started on it. And that way I ensure that everything I buy I make sure I use. And again, all of the classes that I've had so far have been really versatile, and this one particularly, as far as the value that I can get from it, I think has been tremendous. I will definitely use this technique in the future with different projects that I'm working on. Thanks for joining me. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can do so here by clicking the subscribe button. That way you'll find out about new videos as they become available. And the instructor's name was Angela